Scary, scary times, guys. The Jaguars lose to the Browns 18-13. The Jaguars drop to 0-2, and the Jaguars have a couple of very, very hard games coming up. Panic button is smashed, man. This is very, very scary stuff. But real quick, this video is brought to you by BetUS and powered by BetUS, so huge shout out to them, man. The Jaguars were 3-point favorites going into this game, and obviously they lost by 5 points. But luckily, I did go on halftime and actually place a bet on the Jaguars to cover, as they were 6.5-point underdogs throughout the game. So I kind of got my money back that way. So it's kind of cool. You guys can put wagers midway through games as well. So yeah, definitely check that out. If you guys want to check out BetUS, there's a 150% deposit bonus if you guys go to betus.com and use promo code YouTube150. Big shout out to them, man. 24/7 customer support, quick 24-hour payouts, and you can bet on any NFL game this year. And right now, I think there's a lot of people a little bit nervous about betting on the Jaguars because this game was, man, it was concerning. It was concerning, and I know after the Dolphins game, we felt bad after it just because it was man, the Jaguars were the better team this day, but they lost. They couldn't come out with the win. But hey, 0-1, we'll wipe our hands off and come back and beat the Browns because the Browns just got killed by the Cowboys. But man, the Jaguars today really didn't seem like the better team. I know, the Browns didn't really play their best football, and they were out a lot of players. I mean, both their starting tackles, they were out, like David Njoku. They were had all kinds of players out all over the field. And, most specifically, Deshaun Watson, we all thought was washed. But hey, everybody's get-right game is against the Jaguars, right? Because Deshaun Watson, was able to evade a lot of pressures. He was able to find different guys, and it was quite a day for him. So really, it started on the first drive. I mean, the Jaguars on the first drive got one first down, then punted. And then, later on, Cleveland on their second drive was at one point in a 2nd and 20 situation, then a 3rd and long. And then they wound up, getting themselves a 16-play, 89-yard drive to get a touchdown. And what happened to the Jaguars? Jaguars get the ball next to 3 and out. And then all of a sudden, they have another long drive, Cleveland, and the only thing that stopped them was an Amari Cooper drop. Okay, Amari Cooper, if he catches that, they're in the red zone, but Amari Cooper and the Browns stopped their own drive. So they got a field goal. And on the kickoff, the Jaguars got saved. On the kickoff, Tank Bigsby fumbled it. The Browns recovered, but apparently in this new kickoff rule, the kicker's not allowed to trot past the 40 or 50, and it completely saved us because the Browns were about to get the ball, winning 10-0 at the 25, 30-yard line, so that was going to be scary. And then the Jaguars, finally have a long drive. It was a good drive for the Jaguars, but, this is when the coaching ineptitude kind of shows up. The Jaguars get a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line and somehow need to call 2 timeouts while on that set of downs. And the Jaguars only settle for a field goal. It's just pathetic. I mean, the coaching staff needs to have their players ready when they go, and then they had to burn 2 timeouts, essentially. So the Jaguars only got 3 out of that one. Later on, the Cleveland on the next drive had a 4th and inches at some point. Then they had themselves a big run and settled for a field goal. So at the end of the half, Trevor Lawrence was 5 for 11 with only 16 yards passing. I mean, so much for Trevor Banks Stadium, right? It was not a good half. He looked frustrated by just everything going on. I mean, the offensive line isn't good. He wasn't finding his receivers. I think he was even frustrated with the play calling because I think he's getting a little bit annoyed by all the running we're doing, especially when we do run, 3rd and long pass type of situation. So in the first half, the Browns' time of possession was 20 minutes versus the Jaguars' 10 minutes. So they way outgained us in that point, and then 195 yards of the Browns versus the 81 yards of the Jaguars. So the Jaguars had an abysmal first half where just nothing was going right. But luckily, the second half started off a little better. First of all, Cleveland got the ball to start off. They got a 3 and out. Then the Jaguars got themselves a 3 and out. And then Cleveland got the ball back. They got themselves a field goal. And then the Jaguars actually got the ball back and had a red zone drive, and then Cam Little missed a kick. And I know for me, a lot of people were kind of talking big about Cam Little. People were excited about him, and I was excited about him too. But I was not ready to buy into the Cam Little propaganda until he actually showed some stuff in regular season games. And, he had a bad miss And, in a game that for so long was what, 13-10, 16-13, like these 3-point games, like that field goal miss was critical, absolutely critical. And he should have been able to make it. So Cleveland got the ball back and they got a 3-and-out. And then finally the Jaguars go deep. Trevor Lawrence actually had a decent pocket and launched it deep to Brian Thomas Jr. and he had himself a long gain. And the Jaguars got their lone touchdown that drive. And then next up, Cleveland gets the ball back. They get a 3-and-out. And then Foye Oluokun got himself a sack that drive. So it's starting to feel that Jaguars are getting a little bit of momentum. The Jaguars were able to get a field goal after that. And then on their next drive, and then Cleveland got the ball back. And at one point, we're at a 3rd and 36. And then this was when the punter punted it, and they pinned the Jaguars at the 1, which the Jaguars' first play got himself a safety. And then the score was 18-13. They tried an onside punt, didn't get it. Cleveland went 3-and-out. Jaguars get the ball back at the 10 with 1:27 left in the game. And then the Jaguars were able to drive down. They had a shot at the end zone. Like it felt like when I was watching it, CBS immediately cut to the other game. But man, it felt like Brenton Strange really had himself an opportunity to potentially get a touchdown. But he didn't haul it in, and then the Jaguars lost. And to be honest with you, the better team won today. The Browns, I thought, were the better team. Last week, I thought the Jaguars were the better team. The Dolphins just went crazy for one quarter. This game, the Browns were the better team. And man, 0-2 is not a good start to a season. I mean, when you look statistically, I think there's like a 10 to 20% chance that you make the playoffs after starting 0-2. The only silver lining here is that the Colts and Titans are also both 0-2. However, the Texans are playing Sunday Night Football tonight. At the time of filming this, it's 7:47 p.m. So, but the Texans are playing the Bears, and I don't know. The weeks 1 through 4 are a little bit weird, but there's a very good chance that the Texans are going to take a 2-game lead on the AFC South, and we're gonna have some work to do. Going to have some definite work to do. So it's a scary situation. I'm very concerned about the coaching staff. Like I think Doug Peterson has been outcoached each of the last 2 games. Some of his clock management, some of his play calling, he doesn't have a good sense of like what our offensive identity is. And I think the Jaguars just need to be able to drop back and pass the ball more. And I think that Trevor Lawrence is also struggling a little bit. I wouldn't put all the blame on Trevor Lawrence this game. I think Trevor Lawrence mainly. I think it's tough for him because the offensive line is so bad, and you look at the flip side, Deshaun Watson dropped back, and he's able to really scan the field. Trevor Lawrence dropped back, and he doesn't get the same pleasure of doing that. However, Trevor Lawrence needs to have his mental clock ready, where he knows that 1, 2, 3, if there's nobody open, I got to throw it away. Which if you're down, I understand. Like you want to keep trying to move the ball, but it's not good. It's not good. The running game wasn't great. Travis Etienne, 13 carries for 52 yards. He had himself a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence, 2 carries for 45 yards. Dearness Johnson, 5 carries for 26 yards. And Tank Bigsby never got himself a carry because he actually got hurt on that kick return. He went to the locker room. Next, he came back and did play, but only on special teams. Brian Thomas Jr., the leading receiver, 2 receptions for 94 yards. The Jaguars need to find ways to get him more involved in the game. Brenton Strange, 3 catches for 65 yards. Of course, Evan Ingram before the game was basically pulled his hamstring. So, yikes, pulled his hamstring pregame warmups. That is not good. So, Adam himself, him and Tyson Campbell can schedule training room dates because both of them are going to be shelved for a while with hamstring injuries. And I don't know what happened before the game because I was already surprised when Mason Smith was a scratch. I haven't heard anything about why that is, but that's a little surprising for me. I mean, he's your 2nd-round pick. You would like him to be able to play and be in the defensive rotation. Gabe Davis, 3 catches for 43 yards. And where is Christian Kirk? I mean, the fall-off of Christian Kirk, he had himself 2 really bad drops in week 1 against the Dolphins, and this week, only 1 catch for -1 yards. I don't know what's going on there, but it's definitely concerning. When you look at defensively, shout out to Monteric Brown. I thought he had himself a pretty good game. He was being targeted a lot, but he had himself 10 tackles this game, and he had a good amount of pass breakups too. I mean, they were going after him, and I think he held his own. I actually do like him. Also, Antonio Johnson, I think, continues to struggle. Foye Oluokun, he had himself three tackles, 5 assisted tackles, and also a sack. Really pivotal sack on a third down. Cisco seems to still struggle. Josh Hines-Allen had himself a sack. Trayvon Walker was definitely invisible. And yeah, they didn't really go after Ronald Darby a lot. They really just tried to target Monteric Brown, it felt like, because they went after Jarian Jones a couple times, but didn't really notice too much from those guys. And just the offensive line in general, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Cam Robinson, but dude, he was just awful. And it's not even like a thing where he's getting old and he's getting out physical. He's just like whiffing on guys, and he's like, I don't know what's going on with him, but he was awful today. Just awful. I was like, are we allowed to bench Cam Robinson? Because I'm telling you, Walker Little would be doing better in there that game. So it's really, really concerning to say of the Jaguars when you're 0-2. Now we look ahead and playing Monday Night Football in Buffalo was all of a sudden a must-win game. That was not the plan coming out of the first quarter of the season. And then obviously the Jaguars the week after that get to play the Texans in Houston. Right now the Texans seem like they would blow the freaking doors off of us. Man, it's really, really concerning. There's a lot of concerns going on with the team right now. We're not doing a lot good. And, I know a lot of people are talking about like the defense is fine and that the defense is like solid. My issue with the defense is that they're not getting any big plays. They're not getting any takeaways. Like great defenses get takeaways. So Jaguars haven't had a single takeaway in the first 2 games, and takeaways do a lot. It shifts momentum. It throws the other offense out of sync. It gives you, the Jaguars. It gives the other team the ball in like good field position. And the Jaguars, just the offense isn't able to get that, and also the Jaguars just too many 3 and outs. The Jaguars as a team, it was surprising how good they actually were. Like on paper, I mean, the Browns were 2 for 14 on third down conversions. They were just getting a lot of work in on, they were getting good plays on second downs, getting a lot of first down on second down. But they were also 3 for 3 on fourth down. I mean, Jameis Winston kept coming in there. We all knew what Jameis Winston was going to do, and the Jaguars just flat out couldn't stop it. Pretty pitiful to say the least. So when you look at time of possession, yeah, the Jaguars did better. I mean, like I said, in the first half, it was 20-10. The whole entire game, it was 34-25 or 34-26, I should say, minutes. So it's concerning. And, right now when you look at the Jaguars, last 8 games, they're like 1-7. This was a playoff mandate year. And, Doug Peterson, even though he's coached for 2 seasons, 9-8 in each of the 2 seasons. We would have killed for that, not back in the 2010s. But at this point, it's really concerning because it doesn't seem like he has any answers. It doesn't seem like players are playing together. It just this team is so clunky. It's concerning. It's very, very concerning, and they just have to. Like I said, I think they need to do a better job of like really playing the game through Trevor Lawrence and just allowing him to pass it, trying to move the pocket a little bit if pressure is coming down, and then allow the passing game to really set up the run game. I don't know. But what do I know? You know what I'm saying? So with all that said, the Jaguars dropped to 0-2. Concerning stuff. But, the good thing is we have 15 games left to make this right. And, gosh. Let's just hope that the Bears can beat the Texans so it can only be 1 game back of the AFC South. So, with all that said, let me know what you guys think. Please do me a favor, drop a like, sound off in the comment section. And thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Go Jags.